Hello and welcome to our battle report of Munus. It is a historical skirmish game that you can find at wargamevault.com if you search Munus. That's M-U-N-U-S. But we are continuing the epic adventure of Raw Patrol. They have been in the arena. They have been fighting for their lives, like literally losing their lives in many of their cases, in order to win fame and honor against the wild beasts of the arena. And oh boy, are you in for a spectacular spectacle this evening. So what we're going to do is we'll zoom in, we'll see the new members of Raw Patrol, which we did see last time, but just clarify some of their stats, and also I'll let you know what our scenario is for this evening. This should be good. So once again, here they are. It is Raw Patrol. They have been fighting for their lives, as I said earlier. Up them against the beasts. And so far, the attrition rate's been pretty enormous. We've lost 3 dudes in 2 battles, which is, in theory, statistically higher than it should be, but, you know, it makes it more exciting. We've still got ourselves Connie here. Connie is now equipped, or no, she was already equipped with a whip, which means that she is the last to get attacked by beasts, because that whip sort of scares them away. In the last match, Old Man Harris, he's been pulling his own since the beginning. And he now has a dagger. He's able to sort of it assists in attack rolls. Basically, the lower die value in a strike is 1 higher, which means they'll inflict 1 less damage. And, extra fun, on doubles, it means that he will inflict damage back onto the striker, which is pretty good. We got ourselves the newbie, Jean. Well, she's not the newbie anymore, but Jean, she's done well. She managed to take out 1 beast last time and just hang in there. So she's holding her own, which is what we want. And then the newbie. Here's the real newbie. He looks like a Rexiarius. But in this game, it doesn't really matter what your miniatures look like. Really, the weapons that they have are purely aesthetic, unless you want to deck them out right. But I thought we'd take the opportunity here to show off another feature of Munus, and that is Gladiator Specialization. So we're going to cheat a little bit. This would normally cost quite a bit of denarii, but we've kind of half given up on denarii, to be perfectly honest. We're only trying to get ourselves 20 fame by the end of this. But we're going to say that this bloke actually is a Rexiarius. So what you can do in this game is you can equip your gladiators, your fighters, with specific equipment. So let's say we gave a gladiator the Caligay, the shoes, that give them a bit of extra maneuverability. A net, which means they can catch up their enemies. And the Amulet of Mercury, which in a larger campaign is very useful for accumulating fortune, accumulating some denarii. If you have those 3 specific items equipped to a gladiator, they receive a bonus effect. In the case of the Rexiarius, it is the haste, the spear, so they're able to strengthen at a larger distance. So basically, this is meant to be indicative of Rexiarius of old. So we're going to say that this guy here is indeed a Rexiarius with all those advantages. And they are going to need their advantages today, which we'll show in a moment. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of different specializations. I think there's about 10 or so in here. And yeah, like again, it's the whole, if you have these set items on you, you get a bonus effect, which is exactly what we want to see in this game. Now, as far as the nets goes and all that sort of stuff, we'll explain a bit more about that later, but basically with the shoes, this guy can move pretty fast. With that spear, he can strike from a distance, and with that net, he can potentially trip up his opponents. So he's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. And this gladiator, of course, he is called Ustinov. Good old Ustinov. So there's our newly formed Raw Patrol. Like I said, they're equipped, they're ready to go, they're more powerful than ever. But they're going to need it, because the scenario we're about to face is as follows. We are going to be doing scenario number 10, MDM's Mercy. You've got to try and guess what MDM stands for. But basically in this, we will have several beasts in the corner of the arena. Now, normally you'd be fighting another ludi, another group of soldiers, and the animals in this game would just be an extra element of peril. However, we're going to lose the other ludi, and it's just going to be us against the beasts. And my goodness, they're going to be potentially damaging beasts. In the game, it suggests to use lions here, because lions, as we saw in the last match, are particularly challenging creatures. But for today, I thought we'd try something a little bit different. You might call me silly, you might call me childish, you can call me those things, but the beasts we'll be facing today are going to be, in fact, dinosaurs. Now, the whole thing of Munus is set up to be in the style of the gladiatorial arena, and I love my history, and so all throughout the Munus book you get little snippets of actual history as far as people are sort of aware in the book, and some of the rules are meant to be indicative of actual historical events. But look, I'm not going to tell you how to play. If you would like to have your characters all be, I don't know, post-apocalyptic space marines or something like that, fighting snot monsters, you're more than welcome to. If you want your characters to be sort of medieval or fantasy-based, you're more than welcome to do that. And just, I guess, as a sign of, permission, I guess you'd say, I'm tonight going to be playing with our little dinosaur friends here. We bought these for our kids, and I thought, well, why not? So we're going to have them be our creatures. Now, they're going to be particularly dangerous tonight because we're going to apply some rules to them. We're going to treat them as if they were elephants. As you can see, elephants have much higher health. They also have the Amulet of Mars attack, which means their higher is higher, one higher, which means they hit a lot harder. So yes, this is going to be a real challenge this evening as they face off against some prehistoric creatures found in some, I don't know, faraway crypt. I don't know. But it should be fun. So I'll set up the board and we will get started. So over here we have ourselves all our stat cards set up, ready to go. And over here we indeed have the arena. So just to make sure there's nice and clear what the stakes are of this game. Basically these beasties at the moment, they can't move outside of an inch away of their scenery markers, which we're using some casualty markers as our little scenery markers. They can't move an inch away from that token, but as each round goes on, they'll be able to move 1 inch further away from it. The idea is, if they were lions, they're chained down to the ground, slowly being given more slack as the game goes on. So that's that added peril, which is in the normal version of this scenario. But in this one, basically they just need to take them out. And specifically, in order to achieve 20 fame points, I think I've done the maths right, it's not my speciality sometimes, they need to take out both of these dinosaurs and survive. All 4 of them need to survive in order to get through this and have enough fame at the end to at least hold their heads high. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So we're up to round number 1. We're going to kick off. We firstly need to establish turn order by doing our crowd phase. I guess as a final reminder, the crowd phase is where basically we add some height points to some die rolls. That determines which of these quadrants will fire off first. So I'm going to quickly do that now off camera a little bit, because even though it's exciting, the anticipation of which quadrant will fire off first, I just need to roll some dice. So one moment. So our first quadrant for the first round is this one over here, followed by these 2, then these 2, which means this is where we kick off first in this quarter. So with that in mind, our little dinosaur, like I said, he can only move 1 inch away from that casualty marker, that bit of scenario. So we're just going to move a little bit forward, just like that. Losing a little bit of stamina, but the dinosaur would be keen. Now, normally elephants, which these guys have the stats of, are incredibly passive. They won't attack you unless you attack them first. Then they'll go all out. But because these guys are dinosaurs, I think we'll have the basically burn it down to half rule like we had with the other creatures. So it moves forwards. It's now going to be Usanov's go. She's probably Usanov's go first, technically, because he was closer to the appeal box than the dinosaur was. Made a mistake. I won't retcon it. Let's just go. So he's got himself some shoes on. He's got some shoes, which means he's good for some running. He's only about 2 inches away, but because he's got those shoes on, he's only going to have to burn 1 stamina in order to get into contact with this dinosaur. In fact, he only needs to because he only has to be 1 inch away. Okay, so this is the power of the Rexiarius. He can move quickly, but also keep a distance because of the spear. So Ustanov is moving 1 inch. For every movement in the turn, he is able to save 1 bit of stamina. So right now, he hasn't spent any stamina in order to move that 1 inch. And being 1 inch away from the dinosaur, he's now able to strike, which is what he'll do. We're gonna roll our dice. We got ourselves a 4 and a 3. Okay, so 1 bit of damage for free on this dinosaur. So it's now down to 17 health. And look, Ustinov, he's got to get in and get some hits on this thing quickly. So he's going to do an additional 2. We'll just do an additional 2 damage on this dinosaur. So he drops down to 10 stamina, and the dinosaur drops down to 15. So that's that entire quadrant fired off. It's now these 2 quadrants, which means both Old Man Harris and Connie are going to be next. I think they're both going to want to rush in and take on this green one. If we can take that out quickly, 1 dinosaur at a time, we should be good for this. Okay, so what's going to happen is Connie, she'll go first. They're actually both roughly the same distance to the what's it called? The appeal box. So she's going to charge in as well. She's going to move her 3 inches, which means 3 less stamina, and then she'll make a strike. So Connie makes a strike. Oh, she does good. She's got herself a 5 and a 3, which means she gets 2 damage on this dinosaur. Will she push it? She's on 9 already. These things got so much health. She'll just push 1. She'll push 1, so she's now down to 8. And so it was going to be down to 12. Okay, in next is... Oh, and they go strike, so a little bit of hype point. Our Highland Hypers are going to be kicking off. I've got 3 in that corner now because Ustinov struck as well. So now we get ourselves Old Man Harris. In order to get into contact, he is also moving about 3 inches to get into contact there. So he's behind that dinosaur. I'll just move him across so you can see him a bit more. So, moving 3, so he's down as well. We're going to strike. Come on, Harris. You can do this. Okay, so he got himself a 4 and a 1. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's what we want. Let's spend all 4 on that. And that will only come at the cost of 1 stamina on him. So he's also down to 8. Okay, but the dinosaur's down to 8 as well. That's exactly what we want. Okay. We keep moving. It is now, what's her name? Jean's turns next. They're all getting in. They're dogpiling on this thing. So, in order for her to get in, she's going to have to potentially go around all this stuff. So that's really going to be about, I don't know, 5 inches? 5 inches? Ooh, does she want to do that? That's quite a lot of inches, which will bring her down, her stamina right down. I suppose she's gonna do that. She's gonna come in with all the way around to 5. I'm sorry that you can't see her. She's behind that dinosaur there. That's a lot of stamina. And look, she's gonna make a strike, but she's probably not gonna push it at all because we want some stamina when this thing hits us. Pretty good. A 4 and a 2. So she managed to take 2 more stamina off this thing. So it's now down to 6, which is what we want. It's gonna have to rebuild back up its stamina. It's going to have to rest to get to that half point in order to before it strikes again. But of course, it's our one last dinosaur's turn. Old Spinosaurus over here. And he indeed is going to move his little 1 inch forwards, just 1 inch forwards, chomping at the chain. He wants to go. He wants to go. And just like that, our first round is finished. Let's move on to our second round. So it should come as no shock to anyone. This quadrant fired off once again because of all that striking that happened in this quarter. But again, the hype's moved around the arena. This corner now has got 4, so we'll see how we go. But closest to the appeal box is indeed Mr. Ustinov, making a good show of it. So Ustinov now is going to make use of his net. So as a true Rexiarius, he does indeed have a net, normally used against human opponents, and I don't think the net would really get over this thing quite as it should. But we'll play by the rules. This is a game after all. So the net is designed to trip up an opponent. Once per Munus, the Gladiator can use the net on an opponent. All actions then cost an additional stamina until the opponent is disarmed. Now it's a dinosaur, so pretty much until it's killed. So it now, because this happens automatically, instead of a strike, Ustinov throws his net, and now the dinosaur is tangled. From now on, any move he makes is going to cost it some stamina. Having said that, do I want to do that now? Do I want to do that now, or do I want to save that net for our slightly more energetic dinosaur? Because that green one, he is on 8 stamina. Let's take a risk. Let's not throw the net yet. Let's not yet. Let's keep it on our person. I reckon we're going to want to save it for the Spinosaurus. But Ustinov, he can still strike. So he does so. He throws his spear forwards. Oh, it's a double. It's a double. That's not what we wanted at all. Well, Ustinov is going to have to spend some of his stamina here. So he'll spend both, 2 on it, which brings the dinosaur down to 4 stamina. It's only got 4 stamina left. That's pretty good. We might be able to take this thing out if we're quick. Now, who's next closest? I think we can honestly say that Old Man Harris is next closest to this thing. So he's going to have a go at it as well. So he is going to make a strike. A 5 and a 1. A 5 and a 1 is exactly what we want to see. Which means he takes this thing's health, stamina, down 1, 2, 3 to its Thanos. And just like that, they're able to eliminate, in just the biggest dog pile you've ever seen, 1 whole dinosaur. Well done, Old Man Harris. You took out our first dinosaur and earned yourself some fame points in the process. Okay, so the most logical thing to do now is for our remaining gladiators to just take a breath, take a breather, build back up some stamina points. So that's what we're going to do. Both Corey's going to roll some stamina. She gets 6. Oh my goodness. So she's back up to 12. She's ready to go. She's barely even puffing. And then Jean's going to roll again. She gets 5 as well. My goodness, things are going way better than our previous matches. These guys, they have a breath, they have a breather. They're ready to go for next time. But meanwhile, because, we've had another round pass, our little Spinosaurus can indeed move another inch forward. So he's making his way slowly to our intrepid heroes. All right, that's the end of that round. Let's move on to the next. Right, so the crowd cheers over in this quadrant with the Spinosaurus. They want to see this thing get in and cause some mischief. And so it's going to be going first. It, once again, can creep its 1 inch forward because another round has passed. It's now finding itself more or less right near that appeal box. Okay, so 1 more inch off of him, 1 more stamina off him. It's now going to be our gladiator's turn. Okay, so Ustinov, he is going to steady himself because that way, he's going to be ready to help out. Ooh, only 1 though. I'll take everything he can get, so he's up to 9. And Old Man Harris, he's next closest to the thing. He's also going to steady himself. What does he get? 1 as well. The gentleman, my goodness. They're just all puffed out from fighting that dinosaur. Now, the ladies, though, they're going to be stepping up here. I think it's best that they get in and try and inflict some carnage on this thing before it can get too stuck in. So, we've got ourselves Connie. She's going to race forward, spending 3 stamina in order to get right up to the jowls of this thing. Oh, look at her. Isn't she just a hero? My goodness, I love it. So she's going to, that's 3, I believe I said. 1, 2, 3, down to 9. She's going to whack it. She's going to whack the dinosaur. Here we go. 4 and a 1. That's good. So 3 stamina off this thing. 1, 2, 3, down to 12. She's not going to push it though. She knows that this thing is going to hit hard when it hits. So now it's going to be Jean's turn. She's going to have to go about 4-ish. Passing through your own gladiators, not a huge deal. Doesn't cost any stamina. You just can't pass through other gladiators. And you also have to stop in where you have space. You can't shove gladiators out of the way. Anyway, Jean comes in 2. The 2 ladies, look at them. They know what they're doing. She's moved in 3. She's now going to take a hit at this thing. Trying to get it down below half, which is, just for those who are as good as math as I am, trying to get to below 9 if we can. It's a 5 and a 4, so she does 1 for 3. Does she push it? Oh, she at? She's at that. She's just going to push it 1 more. Down to 10. She's going to push it down to 10. So he's now got 10 stamina to make use of next time. And next time is just around the corner. Here we go. Next round. Well, I don't know if the crowd's lethargic or this corner in particular just wants to see their dinosaur bite something. But this corner fired off. Oh, that's the worst that could happen. I was hoping that these girls could get another strike in because they could bring the dinosaur down to below half health. It was a risk that doesn't seem to be paying off because now the dinosaur goes first. I know that Connie's like in that circle, but really she's over in one of these quadrants. Old mate Spinosaurus is actually going to get a chomp in. Okay, so it's not going to go for Connie because she's got the whip. It is going to go for Jean. Oh, Jean. So he takes a strike. It has the Amulet of Mars. Oh, no. So he got a 3 and a 1, but you add the 1 amulet to that upper value of 3, which means it's actually a 4 and a 1. So it now inflicts 3 damage onto Jean. She's down to 5. And at the cost of nothing. At the cost of nothing, it was able to do that. Does it push itself? It would bring it down to its half. I think that's the rules, wasn't it? It goes down to half no matter what. So it does push itself, bringing Jean down actually to 4. And just like that, she's just 3 damage away from hitting her Thanos point. Okay, but we can still get this. We can still very much win this. So next up are these 2 quadrants, which I think we can say these 2 ladies are in, with Connie in that prime spot. So she is going to take a strike at this thing. She gets a 5 and a 3. That's not bad. She does 2 damage for free. 1, 2. And she's on 9. So yeah, she should definitely push it. So she might just push a 2. 1, 2. Which brings our dinosaur down to 5. Down to 5. That's good. That's good. Jean. She's hurting. She's hurting bad. She is just going to have to steady herself. Otherwise, it could be all over for her really quickly. And I need all of them alive at this stage. She gets 4. That's pretty good. So that means she's down bounced up to 8 stamina. Cool. So she's holding in there. She managed to like parry this thing and get herself away. Oh, I've forgotten. I have forgotten. If, because I forgot about this last time as well. If you were in base contact with an opponent when you steady yourself, that opponent also gains just 1 extra steady. So that way, this disincentivizes all players from just sitting and steadying the whole time until you want to strike. If you're by yourself and you steady, that's fine. But if you're in contact in the battle and you still take a moment to pause, that gives your opponent the opportunity to take a moment and pause, and they will also regain their energy. So it does encourage more aggressive play on the whole. So now that dinosaur, Spinosaurus, is back up to 6 stamina because Jean had steadied. All right, gentlemen, let's get in and try and take this thing out. We might be able to do it in this go. If we can do that, I think we would have been able to pull off the impossible. Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Rexiarius because this quadrant's going to fire off. He's closest. In order to get to this dinosaur, he's going to have to move like, I'm going to say like 4 or 5 inches. Let's say 5, but because he's got those shoes on, it's only going to cost him 4 stamina. No, 1 inch away. So that's only going to cost him 3 stamina. So only 3 stamina. My goodness, these Rexiarius, they certainly know what they're about. But of course, if they end up with a Secutor in the arena, they could be in trouble. But that's a different game for a different time. So he's going to make his strike on this thing. He strikes with a 5. Against a 2. That's not bad. One moment as I sort out some height points. So with that 5 and that 2, he takes the dinosaur 1, 2, 3 down to 3. This could be it. This could be it. He's only 2 damage away. The Rexiarius, he is currently on 6. Oh, of course he will. This is it. This is the killing blow. Basically, the Rexiarius, he's going to push himself. He's going to spend 2 more stamina that he can in order to, let's imagine, almost in one of the worst moves of all time, Alien vs. Predator, he does a big jump up and he sticks this thing in the side of the neck. And just like that, our dinosaur is reduced down to its status point. It is indeed taken out just like that. And just like that, the game is over. That was a quick one. I've got to be honest, that's not how I expected that to go. So I assumed, because we were up against dinosaurs, that our crew would get absolutely creamed. So I deliberately did kind of tweak it in their favour, but only having 2 dinosaurs. I could have had 4. Technically, scenario 6 is meant to have 4 lions in the corner of the arena. That might have made it a bit closer, / probably would have just killed our gladiators, to be perfectly honest. But with some good rolling in there as well, they managed to take these things out. In addition, this scenario, MDM's Mercy, is meant to have another Ludi involved. And basically these creatures around the edges, they're just an element of threat. As basically the fightable space in the arena gets smaller and smaller. In addition, in this scenario, you actually technically can't kill the lions when you're versing another Ludi. They're special lions from the Emperor himself, and he doesn't want them dead. So, like, again, like, picture, like, those video games where, like, there's a large map and the map's slowly shrinking. More or less, that's what this scenario was intended to be. But with that focus on fighting beasts, that Rexiarius, that whip to keep Connie safe, that dagger, these guys were able to take these creatures out. No problem. So, let's get into the end game. Let's figure out how well Raw Patrol has done over the course of the entire spectacle. Well, that was a rousing success. Now, let's figure out how these things went. So firstly, we need to sort out our fame and our fortune. So clearly they earned fame during the match. They managed to kill 2 whole dinosaurs. But, you know, they only count as 1 animal. That only counts as 1, as a certain dwarf once said. So we managed to add from Eustanov's 1 extra bit of fame. He came into the arena. He made a show of it. Did an alien versus predator, like we said. That pen's not working. There we go. But also, once again, we have ourselves the impressive old man Harris. He also managed to get himself an additional fame point. Look, Connie was in there as usual. Just absolute champion, that one. So that's our fame points. That's an additional 1 to fame just for straight up killing the creatures in that match. But we get some more fame. So in addition to the fame won for killing those beasts, if any of these characters were disarmed, now you can't get disarmed in a beast match, but in a Ludi match, you can get disarmed. Basically, you appeal to the crowd, and even though they won't let you keep fighting, they don't want you dead. So you're disarmed. So if that was the case, you'd get 1 additional fame point for surviving but being disarmed. But all of them managed to survive armed, which means all of 4 of them get an additional 2 fame points. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which is an additional 8 fame points. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just like that, we managed to get ourselves across the line and actually get our 21. Did we get our 20 fortune? We'll find out in a moment. We spent that last match, so I'll get rid of that. We'll find out in a moment when we do our fortune in a second. But there you go. So they managed to absolutely trounce it on the fame. Now, spoilers, not so good on the fortune. We managed only to get about 14 hype points in that match, which is not the full 18 possible. Again, we just killed those things so quickly. So that means that a third of that, or a bit less because they lost, 4 denarii go to the opponent's team. We managed to only get out of that 10 fortune points. So just an additional 10 fortune points there. So only halfway. So look, our initial goal of getting 20 fortune and 20 fame by the end of the match didn't happen. We only made 75% of the way, with only our fame achieving full greatness. But hey, if I had to have money or fame, probably the money. But fame's pretty good too. So just like that, our mighty Raw Patrol have indeed been successful. Again, no one dies. We don't have to roll on the fate table. They all manage to be cheered out of the arena. Everyone loves them. And of course, they all live happily ever after until they have to fight in the arena again. Maybe next time, against the greatest monster beast of all, man. But yes, that's these guys' story for now. And that is Munus. So that was only a fraction of what this game has to offer. Obviously, it can be played 2-player as well. Lots of other sort of Gladiator Specializations, lots of different scenarios, and lots of different potential to have a lot of fun, both by yourself and with friends. Now, obviously, I have a vested interest in this. Munus is indeed my own creation, and it's been put together just in my time off. This is not my day job by a long shot, but it is something I really, really enjoy. And I think you could enjoy it too, which is why I put it out there for people to have a go at. So if you would like to play this game, you're more than welcome to. It can be found on wargamevault.com. It costs a little bit of money because that way I can keep this sort of hobby moving forward. This is how I fund all this stuff. So by all means, go have a look. If you like it, like what you see, please give it a go. It's nice and cheap. You're paying Australian dollars. Australian dollars. You might as well be paying bananas. So by all means, jump around my channel, have a look at some of the other content on there. There's Munus games where you play against another player. I've got some matches with some friends of mine. I hope you enjoy that and hope you can see how you can play this 2-player if you want to, but even if you just want to play this solo, you're more than welcome to. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Again, head across to wargamevault.com, search Munus. You should find it. I think it's the only thing called that. Why is it called Munus? Well, you might have to do some Googling of your own. But I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you enjoyed the game. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you later.